one of the biggest charges against you is that you're a misogynist. And you've always said, I'm not a misogynist. And the last time I interviewed you, you said, well, I may have said some things that, may have been misconstrued. But even in the last week, you've tweeted some stuff, which I'm not even sure if you're aware as you tweet this stuff, how it sounds.
Read it.
Okay, let's read. This is quite a long one.
Here we go.
But I think it's important to read it to get a sense of how you view women.
Absolutely.
Any woman I date does not have a job. Okay, so the woman you're with doesn't have a job?
No.
Okay. Do you date other women?
Sometimes.
And your partner's fine with that?
Obviously.
Yeah? And you're fine with that?
Why wouldn't I be?
Well, you think it's fine to be dating other women when you have a mother?
I think we're consenting adults and everybody can make their own personal decisions.
Okay, fair enough. Why would I be working so hard, you say, to have hundreds of millions for my woman to waste her life in slaved pennies? No. I will give you a life you can never, ever afford. Private jets, five-star hotels, new cars, endless spending money and diamonds. You will be rich because you're praying for me every day and protecting my spirit. I work in the physical world. She works in the spirit realm. Women shouldn't have to work because being a good partner is a full-time job for a woman. She has to look good. All the beauty treatments are time-intensive. Not about money. It takes a lot of time. She has to train every day and stay in fantastic shape. Shop to look amazing next to me. I know there are some men who do 100 times more than this on a daily basis, but women are not as organized as men, and achieving anything significant causes them huge amounts of stress. They need to have huge sections of their day empty to waste, or they will have a mental breakdown. Sure. And do you want a woman who's stressed and angry off the commute, unshaven and exhausted? Or do you want a Barbie doll who's always smiling and saying thank you because she did her nails and brought you Prada that day? As a man, unless you're a loser, you're already filthy rich, right? You can get endless sex anyway. Girls are easy. So what can a girl give you? Happiness, vibes, always smiling. Take the edge off a stressful life. Can she always be happy if she's been working all day? No. Just to wake up at 11, gym till 1, one appointment and some shopping. Dress beautiful by 7 p.m. for you to finish working and tell you how strong you are. No matter how pissed off you are, just to always be laughing and smiling and writing you little notes about how you're perfect. And just to be playful and funny. She can't do that if she has a job. So your job is being my girlfriend, and now you're a millionaire. Congratulations. Behave and aim for the promotion to wife. The reason I read all that in detail was, I don't think you understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I've probably ever read.
Well, I don't think you understand. One, especially...
Dude, the faces he makes at Piers. All right, I'm gonna save my reaction. Let's just see what Andrew says.
Oh my god,
man.
Bro. All right, I gotta rewind this. Viking was laughing so hard I can't even hear.
You understand quite how that comes over, because I think that is the purest definition of misogyny I've probably ever read.
Well, I don't think you understand. One, especially when I'm talking about the fact that women can't handle what men can do, etc. One, it's slightly sarcastic. There's a sarcastic tone.
So do you mean any of this?
Oh, I mean all of it. Any woman I'm with, I will provide for. Because
no woman should work. They should spend all day beautifying themselves for you, right? And they make you promoted to wife. Your job is being my girlfriend. There are hundreds of millions of women around the world who do a good day's work who still manage to be a very good wife or partner.
Agreed,
right?
Completely. But it's my
so why would you encourage a whole generation of young men? I mean, I've got to be honest, since our last 2 interviews, before you were arrested, I would say every single day I have young men, teenage boys, maybe early 20s, coming up to me asking about you. It's gone on every day since I interviewed you. I'm very aware of your reach. I'm very aware of your influence. And whenever I've been asked about it, they say, what do you think of him? I said, I don't really know. I find myself agreeing with 60 to 70% of the things you say. And I do, because I think a lot of the stuff you say about empowering young men to be confident, to work out, to take care of themselves.
To have enough money to not force their woman to work.
Right, but that's the bit. That's the bit where, when you stray into that kind of language, particularly in the detail where you reveal what you're really thinking, the kind of pathetic, soulless life you want for these women. Where does it allow for being a mother, for example?
Absolutely.
How does a mother of your children manage to find time for being a mother in this routine of love and devotion to you?
How does having a job give her time to be a mother? This gives her all the time in the world to be a mother. One, it's slightly sarcastic, firstly.
What do you mean?
Well, you can tell by the tone.
Do you mean you don't mean it?
No, I mean it.
Well, which
but it's slightly sarcastic.
Well, sarcasm means you don't mean it.
No, I mean it. But it's slightly sarcastic.
You either mean it or you don't. It's either sarcastic or it's not.
I mean every single word.
But this is the conundrum with
Andrew.
Sarcastic.
All right. So obviously, Andrew was being sarcastic, and that
post. The problem I have is
But
Pierce.
was he?
But here's the thing. Pierce is making a good point. If you are being slightly sarcastic with a tweet like that,
You can't tell over a tweet.
you can't tell what the intentions of the person behind the
Yeah.
tweet.
He doesn't-
So what you're saying has to be taken at face value. Jordan, I'm texting you. I'm giving you a long laundry list of things, and I come across that way. You know me, but you don't know me well enough to be like, is he actually being sarcastic or not?
You would have to ask.
You would have to meet me in person. We'd have to sit down and have a conversation. Be like, Isaac, did you actually really mean what you said? That's the problem with this, is that Andrew is doing it intentionally to get a rise out of people.
Yeah,
he knows what he's
that's,
doing.
Yeah, that's just what Andrew Tate does. I think that, like, that's kind of why I find the faces he makes at Pierce funny.
It's
he's
so
he's
funny.
doing
He's
like
trolling,
that,
man.
what? Like,
He's trolling him
Yeah,
so
he's
bad.
trolling him hard as
And
crap.
Pierce is that British, like, you know, British or English people are very logical, analytical,
He's very literal.
compared to Americans. Americans are a little bit more satirical.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Do you agree with Piers where he said it's the most pure misogynistic thing he's ever read?
Here's the
No.
thing. This is the definition of misogyny.
Okay.
Dislike of contempt for or ingrained prejudice against women. I don't think that was
No.
quote unquote the most misogynistic thing he's ever read.
It was his way of saying that he wants to give his woman the world, and he doesn't want her to have to slave and have to work. Jordan, you and I were having this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
That if my wife is going to work, it is purely because she wants to, not because she feels financial burden. There's a difference. So when we talk on this channel about the man making enough money to provide, we're not talking about, oh, so the woman won't work so that she won't do this and that. No, it's saying I'm giving her the option,
The freedom.
freedom to do other things with her time, raise kids, and she'll have freedom to do things she's really passionate about. Because most women, I can say most women that work a job, they're not passionate about it. It's because they need the money. So
Yeah.
he's saying, I'm going to give you a world where you don't have to work. And he even says at times that she can work. He's all for her working if she wants to, but she doesn't have to.
Andrew,
Sarcastic.
this is the conundrum with you, right?
It's not a conundrum. If you'd let me explain, it's not a conundrum at all.
You tweet-
and also,
you
what's
tweet
really
this-
interesting, I tweeted this out. I get thousands of women begging me, inboxing me, saying, finally a man who understands he needs to provide for a woman so she can be her best self.
Right.
This is exactly the kind of life that will allow me
No, there are definitely women that will absolutely love to be
So why don't you
treated like
are they
this.
misogynists?
No, but what I think they are, they're people who just basically, it's the old sugar daddy thing, right? They want to have a rich guy who's going to pamper them and take care of them. They don't have to do a day's work. They just have to make
Being a
themselves
good partner
look
is a
good for
day's
you.
work.
Well, so
That's a
you
good
say,
point.
Yeah.
But it also, the language that you use here seriously diminishes women who do work. You make them out to be, well, you're not doing your job as a partner or wife. You should be doing your job, which is just to devote yourself to his pleasure and making him
Well, it's
happy.
actually interesting you say that, because I'll put a lot of the fault of this on men. Let's if you want to gender the argument, let's do that. I think that a lot of the reason why women can't live this life, if they so choose, if you're a woman who decides to work, then go to work. I don't care. But if you're a woman who decides she wants to retire, it's because she can't find a man who could provide for her at this level. Do you think when a woman marries a billionaire that she wants to go get a job in Starbucks? Because in my experience, when they marry extremely successful men, they don't want a job. I'm sure Ronaldo's wife isn't begging to go work in IKEA.
Actually,
No.
Ronaldo's wife works very hard.
She works for herself, which is different.
And her family.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which is different.
She's a hard-working woman.
Absolutely, because being a fantastic partner and having a bunch of children is a bunch of hard work. And she also finds the energy to have businesses on the side. Fantastic.
Right. But you
So
don't
what we're saying here...
But you don't want women to have business.
No, I'm saying if you're with a man of my stature, you don't have to work. Now, if I met a perfect woman and we were together and we were happy...
When you say a man of your stature, with respect, right now you have no income, no possessions,
Correct. I'm
and you're
completely
facing...
flat.
You're
Flat
facing
broke.
serious criminal charges. I mean, I'm not quite sure what statue you think you're currently selling, but it ain't great.
Okay, well then it's a shame all those women inboxed me after I put that tweet out saying,
I've got no-
I agree with you. I think you should interview...
I
all
met
of
a
them for
woman
their
yesterday who, when I said I was
misogynistic
coming to interview you, was immediately like, oh, can you put a good word in for me?
views. Of course.
Sure. You have a definite appeal to a certain type of woman.
You
There's no
pause it?
question.
This is what I'll
Does
say.
Piers actually believe he has no money?
But here's the thing.
I don't.
He doesn't. He knows. That's weird. But here's what I'll say. The prescription. This is what I've been thinking about Andrew Tate for a couple months now, of like what my thoughts on him are, and this is my analysis. His prescription or his way of doing things only is prevalent for the top 1% of men.
Correct.
Because the lifestyle that he gives his woman Most men, 99% of men, don't have the capabilities or even the wherewithal to do that.
Well, wherewithal, it's about having the money.
He's trying to cast a broad net to the majority of men and call them to a 1% standard, but most men are not willing to put in the effort and suffer to that degree that he suffered.
Or be creative.
To become the 1% of earners that can give the woman the ultimate desirable goal of her being able to retire and not work and have kids and raise a family.
Yeah.
And especially in millennial and Gen Z climate. Most millennials and Gen Z can't even buy a house. But you have to think about the analytics, because the median household income in America is between 45 to 50,000 collectively between both sexes.
Yeah.
Which is shiitake bad. It's like really bad.
So 150,000, bro. Like,
but that's what I'm saying, though. That goes back to my argument: is the 1%ers. If you start getting into the 150 to 200,000, you know how many men don't make that?
Yeah.
Like, it's a very small pool of people, and that's why his message is so frustrating for a lot of men and women. Is because most men cannot do that.
In order to be in the top 1%, you have to make what, 400,000 a year?
Something.
No, it's way less than that.
No, it's not.
Let me look it up. Top 10% of earners. If you are a top 10% earner in America, this is a
top 10%.
Top 10% earner as of 2021, and average annual wages is 167,000.
Okay, so it's about top 10%.
So he's only reaching the top 10%, and this is before tax.
But you said the top 1% is like 800 or something.
819,000. But the thing is, with the top 1% earners, they do really well with taxes. That's what makes people rich and wealthy. It's not how much you make in a year, but how you can get around the tax code and do things legally and ethically that our government actually allows for.
If you enjoyed this video of Andrew Tate, click here for our entire reaction of Andrew Tate and Piers Morgan.